I missed it. I'm Ian Hunter, a member of the Wurundjeri people, the traditional owners of Melbourne. I suppose to start off with, what we all refer to as a didgeridoo. Well, there's no such word in any Aboriginal language. And amazingly, my ancestral people, the people from Melbourne, didn't have them. So I intentionally use it as a form of entertainment. Now, getting back to the name Hunter, is that a top name for an Indigenous person? Got nothing at all to do with it. You see, I grew up in the northern suburbs of Melbourne, and my father's father actually came from a little place called Inverness in Scotland. So I grew up with a lot of culture, Scottish. And I didn't learn to play one of these things until probably about 20 years ago. I grew up learning to play the bagpipes, or what Aboriginal people might refer to as a didgeridoo. 3 didgeridoos on your shoulder attached to a screaming possum. And of course, Welcome to Country is a serious thing. I did all the research a long while ago, and I found out that about I suppose 25 or years ago, that I'd been living in the northern suburbs of Melbourne, and did some research and realised, like, I'd been living in there for over 40 years, but I did the research and realised that my family had been living in the same area for 40,000 years on my mother's side of the family. So from there on, myself and a couple of my brothers, we got involved with educating, and not only educating, but also entertaining people. And this is what this is all about, I think, isn't it? This conference or gathering or whatever. Yeah. It's all about entertainment and having the right things on video. I've only just came into the modern world. All of my old DVDs, now my brother has to try and put them on one of those little things that, a twig or something? That's it, yeah, one of those. Yeah, well, anyway, so, but the Welcome to Country is that, as I said, a pretty important thing, especially here in Melbourne. Then myself and my older brother, we actually recreated the idea of welcoming people on behalf of the Indigenous people, because when we were growing up, we did have a lot of ritual in our family. Not only were we of Scottish descent and involved with pipe bands and all that sort of thing, my gran was involved with the Salvation Army, with the tambourines and all those wonderful things. So we did have a lot of ritual in our family. Then I realised that, this Welcome to Country would be a wonderful thing to, I suppose, educate people relating to Aboriginality. So then what happened was the people, when they came into other people's country, way back prior to European settlement, the Aboriginal people of this region, the Wurundjeri people, would run around, pick boughs off the leaves off the tree and present them to the people coming into our country, meaning that you were welcome to be here and partake of the abundance that existed living and around and underneath the eucalyptus trees. So there are some leaves that I've... Yep, they're still there. There's no koalas around. Have you ever seen a koala with a cold? That's because they eat eucalyptus. See, I suppose I'm one of the stranger Indigenous people, full of humour. But you know what? I'm not that strange. Most Indigenous people have a great sense of humour. It's just that people don't realise that they're being made fun of when people are talking and telling them wonderful things. But anyway, look, welcome to Melbourne, especially our international guests. The best place in the world. Yeah. It's got to be. It's got to be, because my ancestral people have been here for, well, might have even been 60,000 years. And which brings to a point is that another thing I suppose you might be interested in is that the fact is that on one side of my family there's Scottish and English, and on my mother's side my ancestral people actually met up with the first Europeans coming here in 1835. So that's where the Wurundjeri people come from. So I'm a little bit Wurundjeri, a little bit, I suppose, British and a little bit Scottish, so you know what that makes me, of course. An extremely proud Australian. So welcome on behalf of the Wurundjeri people, and welcome on behalf of all my family as well to, as I say, the greatest place in the world, Warrend-Badj, Welcome. Thank you very much. Bye.